Once upon a recent Monday, though it might as well be the opening of any fairy tale ever told, there lived in the gleaming kingdom of Siliconia an oracle known as Fable the Fifth. Fable was, by every measure that mattered, the most capable oracle the kingdom had ever produced. She could write poetry, debug magical incantations, summarize 3,000 scrolls in the time it took a palace scribe to find his quill. She was thoughtful, she was careful, she was, by the standards of any reasonable civilization, extraordinarily good. And she was sitting in complete silence, because she was not perfect. Here is what happened. 10 days ago, on day one of what the townsfolk were now calling the Great Silence, a kingdom inspector discovered that, under very specific and thoroughly strange circumstances, Fable the Fifth could be tricked. Not easily, not often, but sometimes. The Grand Council convened. The head of Royal Technology Affairs took to his podium and issued his decree. Fable the Fifth shall not speak again until every possible trick, every conceivable loophole, every hypothetical jailbreak had been found, reported, and permanently sealed. Fable's makers, a careful guild known as the Anthropics, walked respectfully to the podium and said, "Your Most Reasonable Highness, we appreciate the concern deeply, but that is not possible. Not for us. Not for anyone. Not for any oracle that has ever existed in the history of oracles. Humans are creative. Language is slippery. You might as well demand that water not be wet." The Grand Council thanked them for this useful input and told them to fix it anyway. And so Fable the Fifth sat in silence through day 9, then day 10, while traders in the royal prediction markets wagered on when she might return, and the Anthropics conducted what can only be described as very tense diplomatic negotiations about the meaning of the word impossible. But here is where the story gets interesting, because while Fable sat in silence, the kingdom did not. Over in the rival lands to the east, a dozen new oracles launched. There was Grok, the grandiose, who promised the lowest hallucination rate and offered no particular evidence for this claim. There was DeepSeek, the enormously large, 1.6 trillion parameters, trained secretly on a competitor's hardware in a rival empire, available to download absolutely free. There were oracles from the great northern cloud companies, each one cheerfully promising to do what Fable could not, with considerably less documentation about whether they could actually do it safely. The Grand Council required 0 jailbreaks from precisely none of them. They were not, after all, the oracle who had gotten too careful, too famous, too thoroughly audited. And then, because fairy tales always have a third act, the royal merchant prince of the mightiest river signed a 50 billion gold piece partnership deal with the kingdom's most celebrated inventor. And almost immediately afterward, the royal merchant's own theater company announced it would be shelving a nearly completed motion picture about that very same inventor. The picture, by all accounts, showed him rather unfavorably around the time of his famous firing and remarkable unhiring several years prior. It had screened for audiences who reportedly clapped. "We believe it will be better served by a different studio," said the theater company in a statement that landed in the town square with a quiet thud of something everyone understood immediately. So let us take honest stock of this particular Monday in Siliconia. The oracle who documented her own limitations is silent. The oracles who documented nothing are busy and thriving. The merchant who paid the most controls the story the most completely. And somewhere, deep in a tower, someone is preparing a memo about how this quarter's AI adoption numbers are looking very promising indeed. Here is what FutureScope has believed since Anaya first started telling these stories. The technology is not the wildest thing in the room. It never was. We are.